The ASPCA says that each year approximately 6.5 million companion animals are entered into the United States animal shelter system. Of those animals, 3.3 million are dogs and 3.2 million are cats. Fortunately, over the years, the number has declined. In 2011, approximately 7.2 million animals were in the United States animal shelter system. However, over 1.5 million animals are euthanized each year because they cannot find a forever home. Companion animals are in high demand in the United States, but most people want to purchase their animals from a breeder rather than adopt from an animal shelter. In my research, I have found that the number of animals in animal shelters could be lowered if people just adopt instead of buy from breeders. We can help lower the number of animals that are currently in the United States animal shelter system by adopting. By adopting from animal shelters instead of purchasing from breeders, we can also lower the rate of animals that are euthanized each year in the animal shelter systems in the United States. Being in a shelter can have negative effects on animals that are in the shelter system. Being kept in a cage can affect the animal's personality. When animals are placed in a shelter, most of the time it makes them frightened and it can even make them become sick. Stress from being in this situation can also take its toll on the animal. They often become depressed from sitting in a cage for days on end. They look for any type of human interaction because they are so sad and bored. Being kept in a kennel for such a long time can affect their personalities. A once happy and energetic dog can become sad and bored because it's kept in a kennel its whole life. An overflow of animals in shelters leads to shelters needing to get rid of some of these animals. Most local shelters are not very large, and they have a limit on the number of animals that they can actually keep in the shelter at one time. An overwhelming amount of animals can lead to the euthanization of animals that have been there for an extended period of time. Of the animals that are at shelters, 56% of dogs and 71% of cats are euthanized each year. The number of cats is larger than the number of dogs because most cats that enter the animal shelter systems never end up finding their homes. Now I'm going to address the common misconception that most animal shelter pets don't make very good companion animals. Animals that are adopted from shelters actually make great pets. They can even help you become a happier and healthier person. Adopting a pet can save its life as well as improve your own life. Since animals, especially dogs, require a lot of attention, the animals encourage you to get up off the couch and become more active. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention also says that it helps lower your blood pressure, your cholesterol level, and it improves your loneliness. By adopting an animal, you save that animal's life and give it a second chance instead of it being euthanized. By adopting, you also make room for another animal to be entered into the adoption system. Adopting an animal can be easier than purchasing because of the fees that you pay when you purchase an animal from a breeder. Most shelters spay and neuter their animals, so that saves the adopter hundreds of dollars. Although it can still cost a lot to adopt an animal, it's much cheaper than purchasing from a breeder. The amount of animal shelter pets that have been euthanized is getting out of hand. Something needs to be done about it. I propose the solution that people consider adopting animals. Cities should spread the word by setting up pet adoptions in popular places in cities to encourage people to adopt. Local newspapers and news stations should post about the animals that are available in an area for you to adopt. Owners should be more educated before purchasing an animal. If you don't know what you're getting into, you shouldn't purchase or even adopt an animal. If people were more educated in the animal that they're purchasing, they wouldn't need to get rid of it because they can't care for it. When you purchase an animal, it becomes your responsibility. If it becomes sick, it's your responsibility to take care of it instead of getting rid of it and taking it to an animal shelter. Animal shelters across the country are becoming overpopulated because people don't know how to take care of their animals. Overpopulation is leading to a very high amount of euthanization in the country. I am proposing that people who are looking for an animal to become part of their family should look at adopting an animal instead of purchasing from a breeder. I ask that you consider my proposition on adopting an animal instead of purchasing an animal from a breeder.